Welcome to a quick overview of the Einstein home healthcare demo that Atrium has helped develop. Before we jump into the actual demo, I do want to give a little bit of context about the home healthcare space and some of the challenges that they're facing currently today. First, demand for home healthcare is rising, and that's really due to a rapidly growing patient population that wants to receive their care in the home. And a lot of this is due to just the overall changing demographics and aging population. And so demand is high. And in conjunction with that, there's also high turnover rates and staffing shortages for caregivers. And in large part, that's due to a pretty poor worker experience for these caregivers. Often we're sending these individuals out to appointments that are likely to cancel, or we haven't armed our caregivers with all the data and information they need to have a successful visit and ensure a good patient outcome. And the third is readmissions. And readmissions are very costly, and a lot of this is due to ineffective care transitions from when a patient moves from the hospital to post-acute care or home settings. And so the solution that we've pulled together here looks to improve the overall process for how that care is delivered, how these visits get scheduled, and really using Einstein to surface insights that might improve both patient outcomes as well as the caregiver experience. So now I'm going to transition into the demo. And first I'm going to look at it from the perspective of a team leader, and this would be somebody who would be responsible for dispatching caregivers for appointments. And so as the team leader for Medco, a home healthcare provider, I'm always looking for ways to help improve both the patient experience as well as the worker experience for our caregivers. We know that happy caregivers often mean happy patients, and with the end goal of keeping patients compliant with their therapies, it's important to have an informed and supportive workforce. And one of the ways I can support our caregivers is ensuring that the appointments that are scheduled for them can be completed on time. We know one of the chief complaints of both patients and caregivers is when appointments run long or are canceled at the last minute. Missed appointments in the home healthcare space is one of the chief drivers for patient readmission, but also for employee turnover. And as we know, readmission can be a costly event across the healthcare network. Now let's take a look at how we can support better patient outcomes and provide a better caregiver experience. So as the team leader, I need to be able to quickly isolate if certain types of appointments are taking longer to complete than anticipated. In this example, I can look either by caregiver or therapy type which appointments are likely to take longer than expected. And so in my command center here, this is essentially my home page for the team lead, I can look at the appointments that are scheduled, and I have Einstein providing a predicted duration for that appointment, and I can compare it to what our original target duration was with the actual duration. And one of the things I'm trying to isolate here is, are there certain therapies that are taking longer than expected, and do I need to take any type of action to remediate those issues? Now, I can also look at visits that are likely to cancel just by clicking on this tab here. I can see that I've got about 540 visits that are queued up or scheduled, but I want to be able to quickly drill into visits that have a high propensity to cancel. And so if I click on my dashboard here, I can see now that I've got roughly 4 visits that are likely to cancel here. And I can do one of two things. The first thing I can do is actually bulk action all of these records and send these patients a reminder that their upcoming visit is quickly approaching, and hopefully that reduces our likelihood to cancel. The other thing I can do, because I can always take action from right within the dashboard, is actually open up the record. And in this case, I'm going to open up the record for Howard Wolowitz, who's a patient that we have a visit scheduled for. And I'm going to open up the record and look at this particular appointment and drill into a little bit more detail. And as you can see here on the right side, I've got my Einstein card that's showing me my score for likelihood to cancel. In this case, This appointment's 81% likely to cancel, and it gives me my top predictive factors. The appointment was scheduled ad hoc, their last appointment was missed, patient lives alone. So these are all factors that might lead to this appointment being canceled. And then down below, I can actually see recommendations for improving the score. I can send an email reminder, and I can also add this person to a campaign that helps explain the benefits of sticking with their therapy routine. So this again allows me to take action right within the workflow as I'm reviewing this service appointment. Now, as a team lead, I might want to dig in further and understand what's going on with this patient in more detail. And I can actually drill into Howard Wolowitz, and I can actually see what his propensity for readmission is. And so I see the top predictive factors. I also see different ways that we can improve this score and hopefully prevent a readmission. And then I can see recommendations or next best actions that Einstein is providing. Another interesting feature of the solution that we've pulled together here is looking at what we would call the overall patient 360 score. And this score basically aggregates a variety of data points to generate an overall score. So right now I'm seeing a score of 86, and what's really generating that score are these different patient satisfaction factors, right? How many times have they been readmitted? How many visits have they canceled? How many surveys have they taken? How many successful therapies have they been engaged with? And I can even see that patient satisfaction score over time as well within my dashboard. Now, as a team lead for Medco, I also want to make sure that my caregivers are aware of any potential issues. And so one of the things that I want to do is actually drill into and take a look at Michelle, who is our scheduled caregiver. And so as I drill into Michelle, I can see a variety of information about her. If I want to take a deeper look into how my team is performing, I actually have a Einstein score that shows me the propensity for turnover and what the top predictive factors for that are. So she wasn't paid her last incentive. She's been scheduled for patients that are pretty far away, and we can potentially improve this score by adding her to some type of reward and recognition program. And then I can see an overall success index for Michelle. I can look at, again, what her propensity for turnover is, how many successful work orders has she completed, how many on-time visits, and then what's our percentage of missed appointments, has she completed her training, and what her overall compliance is. So if I want to give Michelle a heads up about a potentially challenging patient, I can chatter to her and let her know that we might potentially have an issue with one of our patients. And so now I'm going to look at it through the perspective of an actual caregiver. Now I've logged in as Michelle, and as an occupational therapist, and that's Michelle's role, it's important that as a caregiver, I have all the details of a patient before I start my scheduled visit. I can see my team lead has chattered to me that I should be aware of a potential appointment issue. I decide to drill into the patient Howard Wolowitz and dig in a little more here. So right from within my screen, I can come in as a caregiver, see a lot of great pertinent information. Based on the heads up that I received from my team lead, I decided to take a little bit closer look at this given patient. And I can see that while, they're not, quite hitting what I would consider kind of that critical threshold for a propensity to readmit, it is starting to creep up. And with the likelihood of this appointment to be canceled, I want to do a deeper dive to see if there's anything I can do to ensure a successful visit. In this case, I'm going to add the patient to a campaign and just give them a reminder why it's important to stay with their therapy here. And so again, this is Einstein Next Best Action. This allows me to either add this individual to a campaign, and I can also send them an email reminder by just clicking the accept button here. So when I drill into this patient, I can also see, again, their patient 360 score. I have all of this visibility before I even start my visit. And it looks like, in general, this patient satisfaction is still pretty high. and I can send a note to my team lead in the command center letting them know that I'm on it and will do my best to ensure a good outcome for my scheduled visit. So again, this was just a quick overview of the home healthcare demo. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to atrium.ai. Thank you.